Hey, got a trade to report to you guys. We have Patrick Beverly on the move again. He's going to Minnesota for Jared Culver and Rancho Hernangomez. Um, no surprise, no surprise. We understood that the Memphis Grizzlies had the right to trade Patrick Beverly upon receiving him in the trade from the Clippers. That was one of the things that they had, one of the perks to the particular deal. For I don't know how that works or why. Most of the time, that's not possible. But in this case, the guys that they got, they could immediately trade, and we knew that Patrick Beverly was not going to be suiting up for the Memphis Grizzlies. I told you guys that it wasn't happening. Um, Neither will Rondo. Neither one of them will play for the Memphis Grizzlies. Um, this is a situation where I like what Memphis did because they essentially turned Patrick Beverly, somebody that they weren't going to keep, into Jared Culver, who is pretty much still a lottery pick, believe it or not. Although he looks like a bust at this stage in his career. I ain't going to front. He looks like a bust right now, but I know better. It's still very early. He's a defensive player, and grit and grind is something that he's going to thrive in. That's a amazing set of players for him to be entering into. Uh, I love this for Jared Culver. Like this is this is God sent for Jared Culver's career, in my opinion, because he gets to slip into a situation with absolutely no pressure, but with a lot more potential to win and affect basketball in a positive way. That is a roster full of young players that all have the same mentality that he has on the defensive side of the ball, which is go after it, be aggressive. This is a young player with some athleticism. But the thing about him is he's not a scorer. He's not a passer. So when you're talking about what you expect him to become, you have to let him develop. That's the problem with Jared Culver. As to where some guys are shooters, scorers, traditional scorers, they got the step back moves, they got all this stuff, traditional stuff that they can do that can help them translate to the NBA floor immediately. Jared Culver's set of skills is more so what I see is something that's going to have to come over time in terms of feel. He's a feel guy. Learn your defensive assignment, attack it a certain way. He comes off as the kind of guy where when he learns what he does in the league, he can be a niche guy that you can throw at guys um, in specialty defensive situations. I need a stopper for this guy. Come on in, Jared. Guard him for me. That's where I see Jared Culver kind of being later on in his career. He's not a go-to guy in my opinion, but he's a guy who can do some Trevor Ariza type defensive things, roaming, getting in passing lanes, driving to the basket, scoring, that kind of thing. Turn into a shot maker, but it's just his shot isn't there yet, and because of it, it's kind of hard to play him. Um, so you just be patient with him. Marcus Smart type of thing. You know, you think about the development of players like that. Think of the development like Patrick Beverly. It's going to take some time because they don't have traditional skills, but what they bring to the table is going to be very, very important. So I like Jared Culver. Memphis is perfect for him. You just toss him in that mix of them youngsters. No pressure. I don't know that he starts because they got some guards that they love there, but he has a chance to earn his way into the starting lineup um, as a high caliber prospect. So I don't think his career was going anywhere in Minnesota, as most people who goes to Minnesota. Let's keep it real. It's the worst franchise in basketball, and so this gives him an opportunity to get in there with grit and grind, and get in there with John Morant, get in there with JJ. That's just a fantastic environment for him. Just great. Juancho Hernan Gomez, I don't. Juancho Hernan Gomez, I saw early on in his career, he was a productive guy, man. Like he could really play, but just over time, he's just kind of fallen into some roles. Guys have passed him up. You get on certain teams and teams draft guys, that kind of thing, and you get this reputation of just being somebody we can kind of toss around, and you don't get the opportunities that allow you to become a player that elevates in stature. It's like you get typecast, so to speak, in certain roles. I just wonder if that's where Hernan Gomez is in his career at this point. It was just like, yeah, if you give him 30 minutes a night, he can really give you some production. But when is he ever going to be trusted to get 30 minutes a night from what coach is going to do that? And that's the type of thing. Like you just kind of fall into your role, in this league, and it sucks. I don't particularly love that. I'd love to see what guys can do what, but once you get typecast, once people start believing you to be a certain thing, it's like very, very difficult to ever even get a chance to show that you're anything else. They won't even give you an opportunity to. So I don't know if that's the case with Hernan Gomez, but it is the case with a lot of players. So that's what I think of the situation. I don't know that he'll even stay there. To be honest with you, I could totally see them keeping him. I can totally see them buying him out. Like, you just don't know with a guy in that lane. It can go a lot of different ways. So you just don't know. But I do believe Jarrett Culver is the main piece that the Memphis Grizzlies were ultimately trying to get here. Now, as far as Minnesota's concerned, here we go again. I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't think Patrick Beverley going to play for Minnesota. I think he's less likely to play for Minnesota than he was to play for Memphis. Not happening. He's not going for that. This is somebody who took his Clipper pride very, very, very seriously. And he's going to want to play for a team that's going to allow him to get back at them for that. I think if I know Patrick Beverley's character and how he gets down, he's offended that they traded him for Bledsoe. And even more so offended that they attached other players to make it happen. He probably thinks of himself as better than Bledsoe, and to be honest with you, I do too. I think Beverley's a more effective basketball player than Eric Bledsoe at this stage, especially on the defensive end. He's light years better than him. So I think Patrick Beverley is destined to play on one of the contenders in this league this season. I think you'll see him on a very good team before it's over with, whether it be the Nets. I don't see him coming to the Lakers, but he's going to find himself either Miami, Milwaukee. He's going somewhere like that. So expect him to get bought out. And if he's not bought out, it's because he wasn't able to get bought out. But he's definitely wanting the hell out of Minnesota right now. He's calling people. I can see it in my head right now. He's calling people right now trying to figure out how he can get out of Minnesota. He don't want to play there. I don't need to talk to him or anybody else to know that. He don't want to play there. So expect him to be moved from there too. It may take a half a season to do it though, unfortunately. But he won't finish the season there. I'm positive of that. So that is what I think of the trade. That's what I think of the trade. Ultimately, it's about Jarrett Culver going to Memphis. That's what all of this about. Everything else is nothing. Him going to Memphis, I'm pretty sure Memphis had their eyes on him, saw him as a piece that they could use, because I think everything Memphis is doing right now is calculated, and I think every player on that roster is scouted carefully. I just look at them as that type of organization right now. And they're putting together something. I wouldn't be surprised if Memphis is a contender as soon as this year. Wouldn't shock me. If we're looking at a team and say, who's the team that's going to jump this season, Memphis is a good candidate for that. And the reason why I think Memphis is a good candidate for that is because a lot of what happened last year was skewed. They didn't have JJ for half of the season. He just wasn't there. I like the addition of bringing in a guy like, oh man, why my brain does this all the time. But the center that they picked up from the New Orleans Pelicans, the one that's always been with the Oklahoma City Thunder, fantastic guy, Steve Adams. Steven Adams is somebody who's going to help the Memphis Grizzlies tremendously because he has a motor that doesn't stop and a rebounding prowess that's going to continue to do well for them. You miss having Valanciunas. You did downgrade in that regard, but I think that the downgrade is skewed because you're going to love Steven Adams and what he brings to the table. And if he has been shooting the three-point shot and he is able to incorporate that into his game, look out, because he's already one of the more underrated players in the league. And he looks old, but he's not old. He's in his 20s, so he's still got a lot left, and he's going to fit right in with that young core of the Memphis Grizzlies. Believe it or not, he's young. I know. I didn't believe it either. So this is what you got to go. This is what you got to go with. At the end of the day, the Memphis Grizzlies are one of the deepest teams in the league because they keep finding stuff on the benches and in the draft that works for them. And the players that they do have playing at a high level are stepping their game up. They're getting better. And also, they're young everywhere. Youth all over the roster. I don't think anybody on that roster is old other than Rondo right now. I got to look at the roster, but I think everybody there is young. So I think that the ability for them to jump in the right direction, barring their health going the right way, is pretty high. Ja Morant, he's going to be an all-star this year. Simple as that. My prediction, he makes the all-star team. He didn't have the greatest season for himself last year, Not for his standards. Not after the rookie season that he had. He didn't bounce back the way we thought he would. I think he bounces back from that this year. And I think with his rim protection in place, with Adams and JJ being down there, you couple that with all of the other talent that they have, and it's a lot. It's a whole lot. You're just looking at a team that has a chance to overachieve in a Western Conference that has been depleted somewhat by some players just simply going to the Eastern Conference and some teams just simply not making good decisions. The West is significantly weaker than it was last year. I say it again. The West is significantly weaker than it was last year. I only see maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 legitimate contenders in the Western Conference. Denver, the Lakers, and possibly the Phoenix Suns. Everybody else is in flux. I don't know if anybody realizes that, but the other teams in the Western Conference are not what they were. Clippers do not have Kawhi at all. Who are your other contenders? Think about it. Golden State? I like them. How well is Clay coming back? Steph make it all the way through the season? Are they going to make a trade for Ben Simmons? Is Wiseman going to come back to play well, or is he going to be a guy that has knee injuries going forward? Is a guy like man, I can't say his name, but the cum bucket, is he going to be a walking bucket every day, or what? Like, these are the type of questions that you have for the Golden State Warriors. They have a fantastic combination of players. I believe that they will be contenders this year, but there is a question mark there. It's a question mark, mostly about health, but also about incorporating Clay back into the lineup and how well he becomes a defender for them this year. Or is he not going to be himself? What are we going to expect from these? It's questions. I don't have questions about some of the Eastern Conference teams. They have some solidified contenders at the top of that list. The Nets, the Bucks, the Bulls, the Heat. Those are contenders. We ain't even asking questions. We know. In the West, after you talking about the Lakers, are you sure Phoenix is bouncing back the same way? I think they are. Are you sure? I don't know. I ain't going to sit here and pretend like I'm certain Phoenix is going to be that much better. I don't know. They didn't address their power forward position like I thought they should. Chris Paul's a year older. Not playing for a contract. Does it make a difference? I don't know. Guys like Cam Johnson, they've been paid. Not playing for a contract. Does that make a difference? I think Phoenix is a contender. I do. Lakers, will we make it through the season? Are we going to be healthy? Like, it's just no guarantee that the Western Conference is even going to be a better conference than the Eastern Conference this year. I don't know that it is. So, hey, why can't a team like Memphis jump up and find themselves in the top 5? Why not? The room is open. It's wide open for that to happen. So, that's what I got to say, man. I think they are a bounce-back candidate. I can see them making the playoffs. I can totally see them making the playoffs. Anyway, my name is BDL44. Thank y'all for watching.